uh, a lot of progress in dismantling the satanic globalist elite. They are very, very close to losing power. And if we play our cards right, we should be able to have a new Bretton Woods type agreement this year. But what we need to understand is that the year started out with Donald Trump trying to reform the United States. They had the Department of Government Efficiency. They were doing all sorts of good things. It was going to take over Canada, take over Greenland, take over the Panama Canal. And suddenly, in June, he disappeared at a G7 meeting. And then since then, we've had the fake short fat Trump who presided over one of the largest military defeats in U.S. history. The United States lost 3 aircraft carriers and ran out of missiles. And basically, Israel was militarily finished. And now they're sending me a bunch of fake videos, probably filmed in India, saying that the Iranian regime is going to be overthrown. I don't believe it. You know, Iranian protesters don't go around with CGI generated English placards. Okay, so they send me a whole bunch of these videos, but I'm not going to bother sharing them with you. I'm asking my Iranian sources, and I'll get back to you on Monday to see what they say about the situation. But just so you understand why you can't trust anything that you see on your screens, and you should always verify. For example, I appear live in front of real people so they can confirm I'm real. I'm not just CGI. But in any case, take a look at this video showing you what sort of stuff they can do now. The last leaders of the failing, rules-based world order are lying through their teeth about the real situation. They're faking their economic statistics, and that is going to lead to their downfall. In Germany, I just got sent some information from German intelligence that the Alice Weidel of the AfD, showed 3 documents showing that Friedrich Merz, first of all, he sent a letter to the bureaucracy saying that they must not publish any negative economic news. So they're ordering them to lie about the real situation in Germany, which is awful. And he sent another letter saying that the bureaucracy needed to cover up crimes committed by foreigners. And then there was a third letter she presented showing that he was soliciting bribes. So Merz may be the first to fall, but we'll see. In England, Keir Starmer was also found to be taking orders from the EU to bring in foreign criminals to cause chaos in the UK. So again, he may also fall. We will see which one falls first. Although maybe my bet is with the French, because the French are taking serious action, especially the farmers. Take a look at this government building completely covered, saying they're going to leave the EU. So Macron, i.e. Jean-Michel de Rothschild, who's probably the head of the snake, is going to have to go, and then all the dominoes will fall. But also in the United States, the fake Trump, he was overruled by the Supreme Court on sending in the National Guard, and they told him the only thing he could do now was to invoke the Insurrection Act. So this could be a civil war in the United States. But my message to the armed forces of the United States is that your commander-in-chief, Donald J. Trump, was replaced in June by a fraud, and you must not obey that person in the White House. It's not your president. And you need to set up some kind of emergency government to help the United States through this transition. Now, I was also going to call for the arrest of a bunch of people, but I think I'll let Archbishop Carlo. There was an explosion in Switzerland that killed over 50 people, and I was told that a very senior member of the globalist elite was killed in that explosion. We don't know who it is yet, but I'm willing to bet it's Larry Fink, but I don't know. I don't have any inside information. All I know is from the CIA that a senior globalist was blown up. And we know that a lot of the globalists are all gathering in Switzerland right now because their financial system is falling apart. They are facing bankruptcy, the entire private central bank cartel. They've run out of gold, and they only managed to keep revive the government, the U.S. government, after 40 days of being shut down by laundering the cartel narco money in exchange for silver, and they use that silver to pay the Asians. Now the Chinese have cut off silver, and I don't see how they're going to get past the end of January. We'll see. But remember, the Dragon family is standing by with $100 trillion to help rebuild the West. as soon as they get rid of their satanic infection. And take a look at this. If you don't think this is real, take a look at this plaque from the Satanists honoring Minnesota Governor Stewart, and that's what we're going to do this year. And there are many ways we can do it, but what each of you can personally do who's watching this is to take your money out of the stock market, get cash, buy real things, try to use the cash as much as possible, but get your money out of their fake financial system. That's very important. That's what you can do. But at a higher level, action is being taken, and a lot of people are going to be removed. We're sure of it. And then we can start. We're hoping that Nigel Farage will be the first leader of the White Hats to take over a major G7 country. And then we're asking him to help convene a new Bretton Woods conference so that we can fundamentally rebuild the post-war international architecture to reflect current realities. We are also calling for a jubilee, a one-off cancellation of debt, a redistribution of assets that were stolen from the people through central bank fraud. That means each of you should get the equivalent of a house, as payment for what they've done to you. And we're also, saying we need to set up a future planning agency so that we're not outcompeted by the Chinese who have such a system. We need to improve our system of economic governance. Right now, it's run by Satan-worshipping pedophile elites who are blackmailed and who only wish to enrich themselves at the expense of others. They are not trying to, build a better world. They're just trying to enrich themselves at the expense of us. That's no way to run an economic system. We need to hire the smartest people who worked for you to make your life better the way you want it to be. That's what we're fighting for. So let's try to do it this year. This has gone on long enough. Okay, well, that's what I have to say for myself today. Now I'd like to answer questions from readers and viewers.
Hi, Ben. We have our first question for today. What are your thoughts on the silver export ban from China starting at the beginning of the new year? Is this the final nail in the coffin for the fiat dollar when Western bullion banks are cut off from accessing physical silver?
It could well be. As I said in my talk, the idea is to remove the Khazarian mafia from control of the world's financial system, because that's what decides what we as a species do in the future. And the key to breaking their control is to insist on physical assets and not their paper or their digital computers. And this is what the Chinese seem to be doing, cutting them off for anything that's real, and then their whole fake thing will just evaporate. We'll see. But you personally should invest in real things. Get your money out of the bank and buy a car, a house, a stereo, whatever, anything that really exists. That's my advice. Next question.
Hi, Ben. You kind of answered this question already. It looks like a large amount of billionaire investors are pulling out of stocks, citing overvaluation. It seems like you agree with this. If not stocks, what, in your opinion, is the best thing to buy? Is it gold? Is it silver? You did mention property. Are there anything else that you would suggest people invest in?
Well, I think land and housing is the number one, and farmland. So you have a supply of food, because at the end of the day, you can't eat gold and you can't eat silver. And there have been times in the past where, no matter how much gold you had, you starved to death. But just things that are long lasting. If you don't have a lot of money, maybe just buy a brand new state of the art washing machine or whatever you can afford. But just get something that's real, that will personally improve your own life. That's what I would suggest. Next question.
Ben, you mentioned that the explosion at the bar in Switzerland may have killed Larry Fink. How do you think this was done? People are describing it as an instant inferno. Was this a bombing, or does it look like more of an advanced weaponry?
I don't know. I'm still making inquiries, but my suspicion was that this was aimed at a specific individual. And then when I asked my CIA connections, they said a very senior member of the globalist elite was eliminated. And I guess Larry Fink, because either Larry Fink or Bill Gates are prime targets, because they were recorded saying they were going to start another pandemic in 2026. And of course, people who don't want another pandemic have a strong interest in going after these individuals. But I really don't know. I will try to find out. And I don't know how it was bombed either. Again, it's too early, but there's many different ways you can do that. Next question.
Hey, Ben, it looks like China has started to make military moves to invade Taiwan. Do you see this occurring in the near future? And if it does, what does that look like? Who comes to Taiwan's aid? Who backs China? And who wins?
Uh, I don't think it's going to come to that. What's going to happen, I believe, the head of the Three-Legged Crow Society in Japan died, and they've now selected a new individual. And I'm guessing that the various royal families of Asia are going to have negotiations that will involve reuniting the Korean Peninsula and then sorting out the Japan, Taiwan, China triangle in a harmonious way. But at the end of the day, I think that what will happen is people from the government in Taiwan will be given a senior role running all of China as part of the unification process. And I believe China or Taiwan will be allowed to keep an independent army. But, they're not, I don't think they're going to actually have a war. It's not going to be necessary. Next question.
Hi, Ben. We have our last question for today. What are your thoughts on the Minnesota Somali scam? What is actually going on there? Somalia has one of the world's lowest IQs, so I don't buy that they have figured out how to scam the government by themselves. What sort of inside things are occurring inside of our government to allow them to get away with this?
Uh, I saw one video of a supposed Somali scammer, and I'm telling you, the guy didn't look Somali. He looked Jewish, okay? Dark skinned, but definitely not. The Somalis have a very distinct appearance. I mean, the differences genetically within Africa are much bigger than anywhere else in the world. So different Africans are more different from each other than the Chinese are from the Europeans, for example. And the Somalis have a very tall, distinct features. And I don't think this is really to do with Somalis, although they may be used as a front. I think this is some kind of scam, and I'll try to look more into it. But I agree. I don't think it's actual Somalis, but they may be used as fronts.